Hey there, Stubbies. This is Dick with the Ticket Stub. This is episode 120. And just to remind you guys, this Sunday is going to be the Oscars. So we're doing our Oscar ballot this episode, and we want you guys to join in. We're going to be posting a ballot from Rotten Tomatoes you can use, or you can really use any ballot. And we want you to fill it out and send it to us on a direct message or any way you want to email us, theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. You know how to contact us. Just send us your ballot and pick what you're thinking movies are going to be. And then we're going to give 2 tickets to the Grand or Amstar. That's any theater that Amstar or the Grand is located, to the winner who gets the closest. And then on next Thursday's show, we will be going over the results to see which of the 3 of us win the Golden Dude. And of course, we'll give you a shout out if you're the winner. Today's show is a lot of fun. We reviewed some great movies. We look forward to the Oscars this Sunday and seeing you guys on Thursday.
Hey, this is Lo with Soul Harbor, and you are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Hey guys, welcome to the Ticket Stub. We're having a little bit of a technical problem here. The Ticket Stub is brought to you by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas. We broadcast most every Thursday from beautiful downtown Conroe, Texas. Can we hear you now?
What's up, party people?
All right,
yeah,
I'm
live. Oh no, Chris, you're doing great. Just go ahead.
Well, I didn't have it memorized.
Everybody, we come from Conroe, Texas on Thursdays most of the time. Actually, are we even on Thursdays anymore? I need to update that.
Today is Thursday.
Today is Thursday. What's wrong with me? My microphone doesn't work, and now I lose my mind. If you're listening on the radio in the local Conroe area, it's 104.5 and 106.1. Otherwise, you're watching us on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, or Facebook Video, I guess, would it be called? All podcast platforms. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We have a ticket sponsorship with the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinema. You can visit irlonestar.com for information about the show and sponsorships, or you can give us a call, 936-647-3776. You know, it's been a while since we've had a call. Why doesn't somebody give us a call? Somebody right now.
At least a crank call.
At least a crank call. Why is it a crank call? I get prank. Is it just because prank and crank rhyme?
I don't know.
Crank.
Yanking your crank?
It's probably because the
that's
crank
what the
yankers.
joke is, right?
Well, yeah, but where did that show get the name from?
That's probably where they got the show from. Like, they made it up.
So prank, and then they just said crank. And
Yeah,
I think Crank predates Crank Yankers, that puppet show.
I think it does.
Which, by the way, is a really pretty funny. Anyways, my name's Connor, one of the hosts of the show. My mic was a little bit. I messed it up. It's not Dick's fault. I plugged something.
He comes in here and just starts hitting everything, brute force.
Yeah, I kind of, I don't have any regard for other people's property or possessions, so I just wreck them. But anyways, joined in studio as always by Chris Appel. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Doing well. Life is good. Chris is the GM of the theater here in Conroe. Life at the theater, okay?
Yeah, it's going well. Going well for us. Excited about Birds of Prey coming out tonight, actually. So you can still get your tickets. We've got quite a few auditoriums going of it.
It's just a movie about some old birds. Am I right?
Yep.
Am I right, guys?
The old birds from England.
Dick, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
Yeah? What's going on here? The stew?
Yeah, studio's up. Everything's good to go. Hopefully we'll start producing more content in the back for the Ticket Stub. And
that sounds funny,
which I want to remind folks, we do have a YouTube channel, the Ticket Stub Podcast. So make sure to subscribe to that, because that's where we're going to be posting a lot of the background stuff, because we won't be able to put on the radio.
So you couldn't hear me at first, but if you wanted to watch me frantically try to talk into the microphone, you can only do that on the YouTube channel. And,
no, I didn't have you up.
Okay, what the heck?
I'm trying to do quality control here.
I know, but people want to see. People want to peel the onion back and see how the sausage is made.
So it just looked like I was doing a terrible intro then. So nobody saw any of that. It was just me being terrible.
The quality control is make Chris look terrible. Make me look still decent and Chris terrible.
You can see Chris at the Grand Theater in Conroe.
Yeah, in fact, if you want to see Chris, just show up to the box office and start complaining.
What's that watch channel called again?
Ooh.
Yeah, well, you can talk about it. It's fine.
Watch me go broke.
Watch me go broke.
Chris has
on YouTube.
He has a YouTube channel where all he does is talk about watches.
Yeah.
And people are subscribing and liking. Are they smashing the subscribe button, or are they just kind of tapping it?
Well, it doesn't matter if they smash it, if they tap it. It counts.
That's how the youth. That's how the youth say things nowadays. You should add that to your
smashing.
Channel.
I think that's something else.
Obliterate that subscribe button. You know, you could say that. Pulverize that subscribe button.
Lamb-basted.
Yeah, that's how somebody who had a watch channel would probably say lamb-based.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So anyways,
ridiculous.
watch them go broke. Well, we here talk about movies, and we sometimes get off topic like we just did. We got a good show today. We're going to do some movie news.
I'm excited.
A lot of times we do a box office talk, but the box office is a little bit... Well, we already talked about Birds of Prey last week, and I was going to try to talk about one of the other movies coming out, but I just couldn't bring myself to care at all. I mean...
Gretel and Hansel? Or
No, that's already out, right?
That came out last
Hey,
week, right?
Sonic the Hedgehog, you can't.
Is that
That
this
came
week?
out?
That's next week.
Well, yeah, that's next week. That's not
Oh,
this
okay.
week.
You're saving that one then.
Well, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Although that one actually looks pretty good, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Really?
Maybe not. I'll say that. I thought it looked good. Like the way they are integrating Sonic and like the actual look of the movie, you know what I'm saying? Like the CGI or whatever.
No. It reminds me of Inspector Gadget, the one from
Matthew Broderick?
Matthew Broderick, yeah. It really looks like that to me.
Oh, okay. Well, Chris is a hater. Are you an anti-Sonic guy? What's your problem?
No, I'm not. It's an interesting way that they chose to do it.
Okay. All right.
Well, what's interesting to me about those kind of movies, especially like the Detective Pikachu and all that kind of stuff, the video games, is they're not doing any of the storylines that are originally from the game. Which Sonic didn't really. I mean, he had like 2 objectives: save the little robot animals and
Get the
then
rings.
defeat Dr. Robotnik. But like this movie, it looked like they're trying to combine a little bit of that, but like not enough to where the true fans of Sonic will be like, "Oh, this is so great." But then again, the story of Sonic's not like an epic tale.
Not a whole lot of story, is there? Like
Yeah.
when you said the story of Sonic, I was
No.
kind of confused for a minute because
Well, like Pikachu, I saw Detective Pikachu, and it was really interesting to me how they created a world that if you played Pokemon, you can see that world existing.
yeah.
And so, but it wasn't based off of a game. Like that storyline was not based off of Pokemon Red or Blue.
Yeah.
So, like that's what I'm saying. Like they kind of went with it, and they created its own world, but they used kind of the background of what we've experienced in the games to give it some structure.
What part of a role do you think rings will play in the Sonic?
0.
You think 0?
0.
There's no
Oh,
chance
you
there's a
have to.
0% rings. There's got to be something with rings.
I didn't see any rings in the trailer. That would have been the first thing I
Well,
would
they
have
just wanted
started.
to show you his teeth.
Yeah.
And then the second trailer
He's a
was
cute
just
little
all
puppy.
about him not having the teeth. So,
So-
they have that
and they
amount of
don't- I
time
didn't
to put
see
the rings
Knuckles.
in.
I didn't see Tails. So I have no
Knuckles,
idea where they're trying to go with this.
Did Tails fly? Who flew?
Tails.
Tails.
Knuckles climbed.
Oh, gotcha.
And like Shadow's not in it. So
Man, you're deep.
We don't know that.
Does he have teeth?
I mean,
you're
I
deep
don't
in
know.
all the nerd stuff, Dick. It's
I like
always.
Sonic was my Mario. I didn't have a NES.
Yeah, you had a Sega.
So I had a Sega. So I did like my platformer was Sonic. And
my biggest exposure to Sonic was I had a Sega Game Gear. Which
oh
was
yeah,
the
that
handheld.
came with Sonic.
Yeah, it came with Sonic. It also required 8 AA batteries and would last for about 2 to 3 hours of gameplay.
And then they gave you that
There's a time.
janky DC cord.
And yeah,
So you had to be like 4 feet from the wall.
so it would die, and then I wouldn't play it for like 3 months. My parents wouldn't buy me batteries again for like 3 months because 8 AA batteries is like $5, right? And my parents hated me and didn't want to spend the money on my joy.
Plus,
and
you couldn't
happiness.
save anything. That's why I
Yeah.
think those hardcore speedrunners, they should play the old games because there's no save. It's like you literally have Sonic, you're going all the way through the game. If you die, you die.
What's a speedrunner?
They like try to beat games really fast and see if they can like beat.
Man.
They do like serious games too. Like they did like Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
You know how long that game
It's a long
is?
game,
And
yeah.
they're like, oh, I'm going to speed run. I'm like, I would not want to spend 40 hours doing that. Or probably shorter than
People
that.
have too much time. I guess are they trying? Maybe it's like their Twitch or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They live stream it and they try to beat other. There's a whole scoreboard online, like how you can get the highest score or speed score.
I actually watched that yesterday, oddly. It was a guy that was playing a Halloween game, a Michael Myers game.
And trying to beat it fast or just trying to.
No, just playing it, and I just watched it.
You just watch his Twitch.
Yeah.
I have not gotten into Twitch. I don't understand that.
This is the first time I did it. I
Well,
will
I'm
never do it
wondering.
again.
I was thinking about this because I've seen a couple like fight companion kind of Twitches where they watch UFC or boxing,
Yeah.
and they have buddies and they talk about it
Yeah.
while it's going on. But I think the right stuff really restricts like people talking about movies and watching movies.
Well, see, that's my idea for, and we're totally off topic here, but that's my idea for sports. I thought me and some friends, like especially the Rockets, we're big basketball fans,
Mm-hmm.
big Rockets fans. Like Twitch would be probably the best way to do it. But one of the worst parts of watching sports a lot of times is listening to the announcers, because a lot of times they're just either terrible or you always feel like they hate your team, especially if it's a national broadcast and they're not like So I don't know.
You've been watching Joe Buck too much.
Yeah, well, Joe Buck is kind of a tool. Yeah, he's kind of a massive tool. All right, well, let's do some news. We do have some movie news. Speaking of Birds of Prey, cinemablend.com said that the Birds of Prey reviews are in. See what the critics are saying. Now, I was surprised.
That's not a good thing.
No, I was surprised as I was reading the reviews. They're like all pretty good.
Yeah, it's got good reviews.
It's like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. The reviews are saying things about how, one said that it seems like the Harley Quinn was going to really be the main focus, but they were surprised in a positive way about how it really focused on a lot of the different girls and how it was actually like well made and well put together. It's girl-powered, earnestly feminist superhero movie with big and plausible action scenes, but anyways, talking about how it's fantabulous in its own way, which isn't a real word, by the way.
Do you think this is going to capture the audience that the new reboot Charlie's Angels tried to? Because they failed.
The newest one? Oh,
yeah,
I was gonna
they
say,
failed.
I don't think that they did capture the audience.
Well, no, they wanted to capture a certain kind of audience, and they clearly failed on capturing that audience. So
I think this has a better chance than that movie ever
Yeah.
did. I mean, that was like dead on arrival, it felt like to me. But I was surprised to see. I mean, I'm just, you read the article, go to cinemablend.com, sponsored. No, just kidding. But you can read all the things they're saying. And I mean, it's like one review after review of positive stuff that people are saying about this movie. Who would have thunk? Chris, are you surprised?
really,
yeah, I am, because it's DC.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
they've
come on.
they've struggled. Well, they've struggled.
they haven't struggled. They've done well at the box office.
Yeah, but it's
So
90%
yeah, but-
Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, people
though.
go see the movies. So
This was a
But we're talking
long
about,
shot.
We're
in
talking
my
about critical.
opinion.
We're talking about critical acclaim here, not financial
Okay.
success.
This was a big long shot to work, in my opinion. So the jury's still out to see if it will. It looks like it will, though. So good for them.
At least, I mean, who knows? They all, like Dick said, they all make money, so I don't think that's the question. But will this be viewed as a good movie? And I think DC, for their legacy, they desperately need something to be a big hit. And so hopefully this one will work.
Definitely.
Because honestly, DC might be in a decent spot. Because Marvel, I think, is at kind of a weird crossroads right now, where they're putting what's
they had their big finish.
Well, they had their big finish, but they're still making movies that have happened like before the big finish. And then I just saw like all the TV shows they're going to be coming out with in the next little bit, and WandaVision and stuff. I mean, and they're digging deep for stuff, in my opinion, right now that people don't even really know about. But DC has a chance where they haven't really struck gold with the IP that they've got yet, at least not in a while. It's been a good period of time since then. And so maybe people are looking for tentpole superhero movies, and maybe they'll...
Well, they have two major DC movies coming out. They have, or this year is this movie that's coming out, Birds of Prey, and then they have the new Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So they
and
have
the
that coming out.
Woman Woman's like the best of the franchise. Yeah. So that might be good little
Which is funny
get 'em a little
because
momentum.
What's interesting to me about that is they haven't really. You would think it'd be Superman or Batman.
They can't do those well. I don't
But
understand.
yeah, so they're not gonna. I mean, I think that's really what they're gonna try to gauge with Birds of Prey is who's gonna be our leaders in in this IP for movies. Not TV shows or anything, but for IPs. And if this does well, they still have Aquaman that was well received and did well. But I don't really know what they're going to do with that. They haven't really announced a sequel or anything. Which
why does he just go by Waterman, right? Aquaman.
Because I think it was made.
Waterman,
It was
yeah.
created like in the 40s, so that was the key term for water back then.
Aqua.
H2O Avenger.
Aguaman. What do they call it in like Mexico?
Agua.
Aguaman.
Well, it just doesn't sound as powerful, right? Superman sounds powerful.
Waterman.
But,
Yeah.
Waterman.
Yeah. Well, there's
Like-
Ant-Man. I mean, Ant-Man is literally just
Well, he sounds very limited.
Well, that's true. Waterman. Well, he is pretty limited. Okay. Yahoo.com, actually the finance side of Yahoo.com, has an article about how Disney and Disney Plus, with their new streaming platform, has spent $75 million for the rights to make a Hamilton musical. Hamilton the musical. So Hamilton, for anybody who's been asleep under a rock somewhere or in the Waterman down at the depths, is one of the most popular Broadway plays of maybe ever. I don't know. Definitely in recent history.
Definitely.
Almost impossible to get tickets to it unless you're like a rich person. I mean, very exclusive. So I guess they're going to just take that and turn it into, kind of one of these stage-like musicals.
Like Cats?
Hopefully just like Cats. Yeah, hopefully identical to Cats. $75 million. Does that seem like a lot?
No, it doesn't.
No?
not for this. That's
not even to make it. That's just to get the rights to it.
Yeah. Right.
So they still have to like pay actors and stuff.
They sure do. This will work.
Y'all are being very casual with the $75 million thing.
Well, if you own the rights to that, you can do a lot of things with it.
Like Hamilton action figures and stuff.
Well, you can do Hamilton movies.
Hey, they should do that.
You can do TV shows. I mean, I don't know why you'd ever.
Is there like an Aaron Burr slapping act? Isn't he the one who didn't he slap somebody or throw a cane at somebody or something?
No, he shot.
Oh, he shot
him. Yes.
Or did Hamilton shoot him?
No, I think he shot Alexander Hamilton.
Okay, well there we go.
This is why we need Hamilton, so we know what's coming on.
Right.
I haven't seen it. I just studied it in like 9th grade and I've forgotten most of it. So,
well, this is going to work because it's modern. Now with Cats, not modern, came out in the 80s. It turned out to be extremely weird. Should never have been made into a movie.
It's still successful on Broadway, though.
Okay, but not as a movie for sure. Obviously,
well, and they like did it super creepy,
because
creepy.
What are you going to do with that? And other ones, Phantom of the Opera, terrible adaptation into a film. Les Miserables, they really missed the mark with it, but this is modern, so I think it's going to work.
Like won Oscars.
Don't call it Les Miserables.
Not
Les Mizzy.
But the movie sucks in comparison.
Did they get a couple Oscars?
To the play?
Probably.
I don't know.
They just hand those out nowadays, though.
Well, they keep casting people that are like tone deaf. This is rap. You don't need any talent at all to rap.
Whoa!
You don't.
Shots
fired.
You don't need any talent to rap.
Okay.
And there you go.
I'm calling up Drake right now.
Please.
Yeah, I got
I'd love to have a discussion.
He has like a hybrid, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Really
would he consider himself a rap artist,
I would think so.
or is he an R&B?
I don't know. We're like
let's figure this out.
We're probably the wrong guys to be having this conversation.
Probably.
Hey, Whitey, shut up. Okay, so Hamilton, because it's modern, although it is set in like the 1700s, so it's not really that modern.
Well, modern music.
Oh, okay, modern rap.
Modern music.
Because it's rap, you think this will work?
I think so. Yeah.
And 75 million. You don't think that's a little high?
No.
Well, you got to get it, or somebody else is gonna.
You got to get
There
it.
probably
You're
was
talking
a
about Disney
bidding
here.
war.
You're talking
Well, there
about
was
Disney.
probably.
Well, I
a
know they
bidding
have
war.
unlimited money. They now have quite a bit of my money because we just went to Disney World with my family
Yeah,
a
so
couple
they
weeks ago.
can-
So you're welcome, everybody. I feel like I'm a big part of this Hamilton. I'm a producer.
You helped fund it.
EP, but it's a
Now,
smaller credit.
In the article, I didn't see anything about. Maybe I missed it. Is it just visual rights, or is it the stage rights too? So if they do another play, Disney's making the money.
Well, it says that they're going to release a theatrical film version. That's all it says. It says they paid $75 million for the rights. I'm guessing the rights to the film. I mean, yeah. I can't imagine they have the rights to the Broadway, because that would be then a huge other piece of it if they got all the revenue and everything from the play into perpetuity. But just even to have that, I mean, that's a lot of Disney Plus subscriptions, guys. I mean, I know that that's not the way you have to view this, but that's a lot of money. And let me ask you this. The article says that they're going to usher in a new boom of musical movies. I was also sitting there going, I don't know that we're not.
Yeah.
There kind of already is a bunch of musical movies.
Yeah. Unless they're going to go with these modern musicals, which I think stuff like
modern,
well, it
Chris.
is modern.
Well, what other modern musicals are there?
There's a musical with a boy with a broken arm or something. It's like the newest. It's something Evan. I was going to say Evan Williams. That's a whiskey. That's not right.
That's what you want to drink.
I'm
while you
Evan
watch it.
somebody. I think that is a movie
Evan
would
Tremblay.
work as well.
Me and Lindsay went and saw one that was like The Curious Case of the Boy and the Dog at Night or something like that. It had a weird name.
Wow.
It was kind of modern. It was about like autism and stuff. It was pretty good. That'd be a bad movie though. Do not make that. Like the lights the lights of the production are a huge part of the
Okay.
It's very like visual and everything. Probably not a great movie. Okay, so a new era. Feel like this will be a hit though. If they do this, people will like this.
Evan Hansen. That's the name of it.
What are you talking about?
The musical that I just talked about.
Did you see it?
No.
So you're just
Well, I've seen it, parts of it.
okay. Evan Hansen. I'm looking it up right now. Evan Hansen, Houston. So this is
we have to put
Dear
Houston.
Evan. I don't know,
Dear Evan Hansen.
That's
Yes.
what popped up. Dear Evan Hansen.
Horrible.
That's
Let's
what
move
it
on.
is.
Is this the worst pod we've ever done?
Let's just move on.
Chris cannot.
Well, I got to get it right.
Dick cannot
It's
handle the
bothering
word.
me.
All right. CBS News. We're taking a little bit of a turn here.
There you go.
CBSNews.com. Coronavirus, which is a delicious beverage, I thought, but no, it's actually a deadly virus. Coronavirus could dent China box office for U.S. films. This is very tangentially related to movies. Seems like a little bit insensitive, maybe. I don't know. I wanted to bring this out here because they're talking about the effect of the coronavirus on the box office.
Well, I learned a little bit about how box office movies are being sent to China, and what's interesting that is if they don't, they give them a window, and if they don't meet that window, then they're never going to get those movies, ever. Like they won't wait till the virus is slowed down. Like, oh, now we can finally release Fast and Furious 9.
Oh,
Like
really?
they won't. You missed it. You're sorry. Like you're gonna get it on DVD.
Well, that's where
Stop having outbreaks.
that's where the article contradicts itself because it's blasting the virus all the way down, and then they're like, well, but maybe when the theaters open back up, maybe the movies will be the biggest they've ever been because of the demand. It's like, what's the point of this article?
So it'll just make it up.
Well,
at the
yeah. No, the underlining thing that they don't talk about is I wonder how many pirated copies are saved because it didn't air in China.
Oh, because they can't film it?
Yeah, they can't film it. They're not sending it over to them.
It's true.
So
Well, hey, Mulan is pissed because they think that about $85 million in international ticket sales could be on hold. Plus, you got to imagine Mulan in China is going to be pretty huge. It's like this is their movie, you know?
Why's that?
Well, because she's Asian.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be racist. I just feel like when people make movies about specific places, those places
Sure.
like the movie. Coronavirus seems like the article's a little insensitive to the fact that like people are dying.
Yeah.
But Lindsay
no, people are losing money.
said, yeah, more importantly,
That's the important thing.
More importantly, you think
Why don't the
I've got some
studios
bad Corona jokes though. I'm just gonna
invest
pass
some
on.
money into helping find a vaccination for this, and then they can get their patrons well again,
Or
to go to the movies,
Or just send a screenwriter over there and just document everything and make a movie of it.
I saw
you
another article that was like how the movie Contagion could help us deal with the coronavirus. I was like, I don't think so. I'm not going to trust Contagion for like my literal virus prevention things like that. Anyways, Lindsay sent me a funny thing today that was like Eminem is the first American to get the coronavirus. His symptoms included arms heavy, his knees are weak, his arms were, vomit on it. There was vomit on it. Anyways, I thought
Is that a rap song?
That is the Lose Yourself lyrics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that a rap song? Give me a break.
again, very, very talented lyrics.
Yeah,
That had to be.
Hey, he freestyled that against
Oh.
Rabbit or whatever in the bottom of a Detroit.
In a movie.
Oh yeah,
That's considered a musical, right?
yeah, that's a modern music. It's very modern.
Yes.
it's very modern. Anyways, all right, let's go to break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about the movies we've seen. I've got two. I'm gonna talk about one pretty quick, and then the other one a little more detail. Uncut Gems and Parasite. Dick,
Underground 6 or 6 Underground. Sorry.
yeah, get the title right on the break. Chris,
Dr. Sleep.
all right, stick with us here on the Ticket Stub.
This is not a drill.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
The Ticket Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas.
With 18 locations around the country, the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas bring you the latest in state-of-the-art projection and sound.
Including Fathom Events and Flashback Cinema.
Did you know your local Grand or Amstar Cinema serves a wide variety of adult beverages?
And some even have a full bar.
And moms, they didn't forget about you. They also have a large selection of wine to help you get through those kids' movies.
Visit your local Grand or Amstar Cinema today.
Let's begin now.
We're back on the Ticket Stub. If you missed this last segment, we talked about the coronavirus and how insensitive that virus is to affect global box office sales. Oh, and also people are dying, so that's not very good. We also talked about Disney paying $75 million for Hamilton. Hard for me to believe. The other two guys thought it was a brilliant slam dunk. And then Birds of Prey actually getting good reviews. What we're going to do now is we're going to rewind. This is where we talk about the movies that we have seen over the last week or since we were together last. I've got a couple. I'm going to do one, then let y'all go, and then I'll do my last one. First, I just want to talk for a minute about Uncut Gems. This is probably out of theaters by now. I didn't check. Yeah.
Yep.
Recently out of theaters, but it's Adam Sandler. It's where he's a New York jeweler, and he's basically a gambling addict and kind of moving from one. It's very stressful because the entire movie he's trying to get paid on bets so that he can then pay for other bets. It's one of those type things. Like he's leaving one place. He just lies. He's going like, "Oh, I've got your ring in my hand right now," when he definitely doesn't. But let me say this. Adam Sandler's awesome in this movie. I think he's really, really good. I like the movie in general. I mean, I was very intense, very captivated. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes, but it feels like it goes pretty quick just because the pace is so relentless on everything. And, you know, Sandler gets a lot of, you know, kind of weird or bad publicity in some ways for doing these murder mystery type Netflix movies and stuff like that. But this shows, I think, that he really can act, and he really does have you know, a lot of talent. I would like to see him go on a run where he starts to put 2 or 3 of these kind of movies together, just because it was fun. I just liked it. It's been something that I got several friends who've seen it, and it's kind of a part of how we will like text and talk and joke and stuff like that. Some of the things that happen in the movie.
It's nice to see him not on Netflix.
Yeah. And he branched out.
Well, he's coming back. He already signed like a $90 million deal.
Did he really with Netflix? Yeah, he's gonna make like
$64 million. I think I don't remember what the number was.
I would.
Almost Hamilton money.
Campfire Story. Yeah, exactly. You could buy Hamilton and then have a little left over to do that. So, anyways, Adam Sandler, thank you for this one. Even if it's the only uncut gem amidst, maybe this is a double entendre for his career, that he has all these turds and then he has one uncut gem kind of.
Well, I think he's been known for saying that if he doesn't get recognition, he's gonna make turd movies. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
I don't know. Maybe he said it. What recognition?
So he was threatening.
Well, like he works really hard on the Oscar bait movies, and he doesn't get recognized for them, like in the award ceremony. So he's like, you know what? I'm more successful when I make movies that are turds.
Well, he definitely gets paid. I mean, that's for sure. I heard an article where he's just like the most like low key celebrity. He just wears sweatsuits all the time and stuff, and doesn't really care about. You know, being rich and famous and everything like he doesn't want to talk to the press and everything. But Uncut Gems, check it out if you get a chance on like VOD type thing. This would be a really good like stay at home, put it on the TV, you know, watch it. Not one you had to see in the theaters by any means. So, anyways, Chris, what you got?
I've got Dr. Sleep. This came out and you saw it.
I saw it.
So feel free to jump in
I
whenever
will.
you'd like.
I'm going to take over.
This is 77% on RT. It stars Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson, who's from something, but I don't know where she's from, and Kylie Curran. So the plot is years following the events of The Shining, a now adult Dan Torrance must protect a young girl with similar powers from a cult known as the True Knot, who prey on children with powers
True
to
Knot's
remain.
a bad cult name.
It is. It's terrible. So they can remain immortal. I just made up a word. You see that? There's another word in here that I don't know how to pronounce, so this should be a fun journey.
Good.
Rapid fire movie review. This is Barry Hertz, Globe and Mail. Wow. Yeah, whichever. That's the word I can't pronounce.
It's not very rapid.
Right.
You just want to take a picture of what you're reading and
Sure.
we'll put it up.
Yeah. Whichever route you prefer to take to the Overlook Hotel, there are better directions available than those prescribed by Dr. Sleep. Oh, burn.
Whoa.
George Elkins from the Metro Times. In place of what Dr. Sleep puts its condescending blind faith in, I sympathize with Jack and Dan or Danny. I'd rather cling to drink or ghosts.
Oh.
Okay. This one doesn't make any sense. Charles Bramasco from
Unlike the other two.
Polygon, yes.
Yeah.
Flanagan chose to make Dr. Sleep utterly banal. Or banal. I don't know. Is it banal?
I don't think it's banal.
Banal. I wish it was banal. It would make it a lot more interesting.
I think banal means like boring. And
Anyway, that guy hated it too. But I wanted to see this movie so bad, but then I forgot about it after it left theater.
Oh, did you sleep on it?
Oh,
Yeah, I slept
it
on
was
it.
kind of a sleeper pick.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect because I didn't read the book, Dr. Sleep. So all I knew is
only nerds read.
Right. All I knew is that it was a sequel to one of my favorite horror movies, The Shining. So I was on board.
Same.
And the movie grabs you right away because it does flashbacks of Danny and his mother after they left the Overlook Hotel. So you kind of get interested in that.
Was there a part of you that wondered if this was like a dream or like a different set of people or anything at first right away? Or did you instantly know that it was supposed to be them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If ever there was a movie that should have deep fakes in it,
Yeah.
it was this movie. Because you have actors playing, Shelley Duvall, Jack Nicholson, and a couple other people. And it kind of took you out of the movie a little bit in that regard. But I think those guys, they do a great job, and all of the actors that are portraying, the famous actors are really outstanding. But in short, the story is about like these witch type people who like to suck the life out of little kids who have the shining.
Their steam.
Yeah, so basically they're just chasing this little girl who apparently has the most glaring shine. So,
aren't we all?
Right. So the group
that was low key the creepiest thing you've ever said. This little girl who has a lot of shine, aren't we all?
The group of witch people, they reminded me of carnies.
They were kind of.
I mean, they're dirty, they're gypsy-like, and Ewan McGregor plays Danny. He's trying to help this little girl not get caught by these witch people. But speaking of Ewan McGregor, Ewan McGregor, he is such an underrated actor. I mean, he really is. I don't know
about that.
He really
pretty
doesn't.
good.
Yeah, but he doesn't get enough credit sometimes. I think they just throw him into movies. Oh, it's Ewan McGregor, yay! But
I would say he's probably not on most people's short list of like people that are really good.
Right. I think he's very underrated.
Leo.
He's no Leo. That's right.
I love how they use the music from the first movie.
Yeah.
That boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that song.
Keep going.
That's it. That's only like 5
Is that a
minutes.
rap song?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, see how easy it is? It's so easy. It doesn't take any talent at all.
Drop the beat.
No, and there's so many scattered Easter eggs like from the first movie. If you've seen the first Shining, there's a lot that they put in there that's subtle for you to enjoy.
If you hadn't seen the first movie, this would be quite confusing.
That's what I'm saying. So the final confrontation at the Overlook Hotel, it doesn't disappoint, and I was amazed at how they seem to use the original sets, even though it isn't the original.
That's
sets.
what I was about to add that in. Yeah, they really did a good job.
It looks fantastic. All in all, I think fans of The Shining will really like this movie. If you haven't seen The Shining, there's no idea you're going to have any idea what's going on at all with this. And you're probably going to hate this movie. But I think this is really a great adaptation in a genre that's hit or miss, like Stephen King.
Yeah. So you liked it overall?
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I liked it. It kind of scratched the itch a little bit. Like if you want a little more Shining in your life, it's not quite as good. It's not quite as,
And 2.5 hours to hold my attention, that's something special.
That's right. That's like 2 episodes of Watch Me Go Broke. All right, Dick, what'd you watch?
I watched 6 Underground.
Are we sure about the title?
Yeah, I just double checked.
Okay, you got the poster.
I was right. Okay. The movie's on Netflix right now, so it's a Netflix produced movie. It's directed by Michael Bay. It is 2 hours and 8 minutes. Rated R for action, adventure, and comedy, and gore, and all that kind of good stuff. Meet a new kind of action hero. 6 untraceable agents, totally off the grid. They've buried their past so they can change the future.
Wow.
This to me,
that's deep.
I enjoyed the action. Michael Bay is really good at shooting movies and making it enjoyable. Outside that, you could tell the script originated from the poli-sci class and undergraduates going like, why don't we just take out the leaders? Why don't we have the money? Why doesn't Bill Gates pay these people to go to take out these dictators and these people who perform these atrocities? Because that's kind of the base of the movie. They're making a plan to go kill this dictator who's been killing people and taking the money, that kind of thing. Outside that, the plot sounded simple. It seemed simple. They try to create more stuff about the actor, the main characters, but it just really wasn't there for me. Ryan Reynolds plays the lead role, and they're all their names are numbers. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then
they each have like a kind of a power or something, or
well, they just have a specialty. Yeah, and it didn't really resonate with me.
Are they the best? Are they the best at what they do?
No, I think what it was is Ryan Reynolds plays this rich dude who they kind of said like, oh, he made money from being smart and he made these patents and all this kind of stuff. Everyone else had a specialty because they performed something and it was recognized by the underground. And Ryan Reynolds came and basically go, hey, let me help you achieve what you really want to achieve. And again, it was just it was a good movie. I think if you are watching it with friends, it's good to watch in the background. Some of the scenes are really cool and creative, not realistic at all. The first opening scene is like 28 minutes of them driving around in Venice, or wherever they were.
That's all I watched was the first scene.
Yeah, like it doesn't stop. And then that's not even the movie. And I was kind of disappointed. I was like, why'd you waste all that screen time to not really tell me anything besides they like driving around in fancy cars and shooting people? Like,
well, these kind of movies have to have the big opening action sequence, right? I mean, it seems like these big action movies
this was
always
long.
Yeah.
And they didn't give you any warning. It was like it just started. Like,
is this the one that has the car chase and they go through the church or something? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and like there's no like it's like, oh, we got the jewel, run, and then it's running for 26 minutes, and you're like, okay, well, what's that jewel do? Nothing. It didn't do anything. It had nothing. It was over. But yeah, I would check it out if you enjoy Michael Bay movies. I enjoy Michael Bay movies, and it would be something on the bottom of the list of Michael Bay movies. But it's still shot well, and it's exciting, so there's that.
What was the last one he'd done before this? Has it been a little while? Has there been a little break in the Bay?
No, I think his previous movie had to have been Transformers, I think. Let me double check. I'm checking right now for you guys. Michael Bay, his previous movie from 6 Underground was he produced a bunch of stuff. Bumblebee, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. Man, he produced a lot of movies. I'm not seeing really where he.
About directing. So
yeah, Transformers.
Okay.
Last night.
Okay. So then 13 Hours. 13 Hours was a good movie. But he got kind of stuck in the Transformers train there for a while, where he's done like 5 of them now.
Well, it's like those two brothers who do the Marvel movies. I mean, basically, they're like, "Hey, here's a bunch of money. You can do whatever you want to. Here's more money to pay for the movie."
Also, the best part of each Transformers got more Michael Bay. It's like he's slowly eliminating the people who are telling him no, and so each one he can up the stakes a little bit more.
Well, one thing I really enjoy about Michael Bay is he's very smart with his visual effects.
Yeah,
and
he has a lot of them.
He has a lot of them, and they're very heavy. And like I think that's a very rare talent in the end game of maybe movie making, because you can tell movies didn't spend enough time on certain things, and they didn't keep it tight, and they didn't. I don't if that makes sense. Like there was a lot of producers involved. Like every time I see a Michael Bay movie, I know I feel like he's making the key decision of how to do each scene. This is how it's going to move. This is how it's going to explode. And those kind of things. Or he has a strong team with him in every movie. He doesn't just hire random people per movie. He has a good team working on it. Because I was reading some interesting things about him back in the day, and that I found a lot of respect. He did all the accounting with his team on how much it costs to make the explosions and things like that. So when he gets a budget, he knows how to set up a scene, because he knows how much money it costs per scene. And he probably spent his entire budget on the beginning and end of this movie. Because it's just ridiculous. But then again, Netflix just probably just threw a bunch of money, and he probably had a blank check. And,
$75 million, something like that.
So I wonder how much. I actually be interested to see how much money this movie costs, because
a lot of times they'll tell you on IMDb.
You can tell they spent a lot of money, but they did not get what Netflix is probably a little disappointed, because he has such good actors in it. But at the end, it just didn't produce a really great movie. It was just kind of fun.
Budget is estimated $150 million.
I believe it.
$150 million.
So.
It's hard for Netflix to quantify how they ever get their money back, but they just keep spending. They have unlimited funds, so it doesn't matter.
They're making a lot of cash per month.
Yeah, they got good positive cash flow, is what they would say in the biz. Right, guys? Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know business.
At least they're not like Disney doing like sex trafficking and stuff like that. That's how they make their real money.
Is that where the real money's at? I think the real
theory.
money's at like a bottle of water is like $7.
What do you think Disney World's all about, man? They're trying to find that shine.
Yeah, Fantasyland.
They're trying to find that shine.
What fantasy are you talking about? 2019, the other movie I saw was Parasite. This is up for Best Picture. It's actually up for several Academy Awards. This is a movie filmed or set in South Korea by Bong Joon-ho. So he is a famous director. At
least it's not Chris trying to pronounce it.
Yeah. Well, so he did a couple things that are pretty well known, I would say. He did that Okja, which is the one
Netflix movie where they gave him $150 million.
Yeah, with the Super Pigs, and then he did Snowpiercer, which is where they were all on the train and it had Chris Evans. And he's done some other things since then as well. But those are probably the two most notable things that Bong Joon-ho has done. And then now Parasite is probably his best work, in my opinion. So what this movie is about is it's a family. They're all unemployed. They're very poor. They live in South Korea. And they take a peculiar interest in a wealthy and glamorous family named the Parks. And they slowly integrate themselves into their lives, and they get entangled in an unexpected incident. So what you find out pretty quickly is They none of them have jobs. None of them can work. They have a terrible life. There's this rich family that lives in this really great house, and their tutor goes to America to study abroad. Well, the tutor's best friends with this family's son, so he gets recommended and kind of has to lie about who he is to be able qualified to be the tutor. And from there, they find opportunities to get their family to slowly start working for this rich family, and things kind of unfold.
I feel like it's a real story. But then it gets twisted.
Yeah, things unfold from there, and they definitely take a twist, and they're having to kind of juggle all these different lies because the family doesn't know they're all related, because they wouldn't probably hire them if they knew they were. But this is a really, really well done movie, really good. You're reading subtitles the whole time, but it's not super distracting. You're still able to definitely follow and keep up with what's going on. I think it's really creative, some of the choices that they make. And then my only, and I don't know how else you would land the plane with this movie without saying too much, but at the end, I feel like it maybe left, I don't know, a little something to be desired for me. That would be my one criticism of this, is at the end. It's an interesting movie because there are parts of it that are funny and then parts of it that are extremely graphic. And the audience that we were watching it in didn't always know, I don't think, when to react to which emotion, because there'd be moments that were funny that people wouldn't laugh, and then something that's absolutely horrific and people would be like, oh. It's like, you know, we're going like, what are y'all crazy?
It is 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, there you go, on RT, as Chris likes to say.
Yeah.
99%, so very well done. You know, I think this will probably, I bet this will get an award or two. I don't think it's going to sweep.
That's what I picked it a couple
we talked
times.
about this on the next segment.
I don't think it's going to sweep the Oscars, which is a perfect lead-in to our next segment, which is Oscar ballot talk. So what we want to let everybody know, in case you're somebody new, is that over the last couple of years, now Chris thought we'd been on the air for like 7 years, but we've only been on for like 3 years. But every year that we've been on the air, sorry, Chris, do you want to respond to that?
Well, I was proven incorrect.
Yeah. So. Well, facts, you know, facts are hard to argue with. But we've done an Oscar ballot competition. So Chris introduced us to the Golden Dude, which is a little trophy of a dude who is made of gold.
About 9 inches.
Yeah, it's about a golden 9-incher. And what we do is we each pick the Oscar ballots. We each have a sheet. Can they see this? We each have a sheet like this, and it has all the different categories. And don't cheat and read mine. And we make our picks, and then we lock them.
And read yours.
Well, if the audience wants to play along, that's what I was about to get to. They just saw my.
I don't think you're that guy in class that they want to cheat off of.
Oh, I forgot to even do a category. So there we go. That's a good start. So we're gonna lock these in the Lone Star Studio Vault, which is the safest place in Conroe, I believe.
It is.
Well, Studio B, yeah.
Yeah, and so we're gonna leave those there, and then after the Oscars, we'll tabulate and we'll declare a winner. The winner will get the Golden Dude for an entire year, until we do the Golden Globes, I guess, right?
Because this
well,
weekend.
we missed the Golden Globes this year. We didn't do it.
Is
for
it
us.
this?
It is this Sunday,
week, right?
Yeah, Sunday. This Sunday. Yeah.
Is there something like a leap year? They changed stuff. I feel like they changed it. Is it always the second? Is it always the second Sunday?
It feels
first.
Feels later. It feels earlier than usual, in my opinion.
It's usually around the 14th.
No, I think it's.
I guess that's.
It is a leap year, but I don't think that's affecting the
No,
Oscars.
it's before. Well,
because the Super Bowl's was last weekend.
Yeah, because the Daytona 500 has been on the same day as the Oscars. Just a little trivia for you there.
Is that on purpose?
When is the Daytona 500?
It is the next weekend.
So it is early.
Not this weekend. Next weekend.
So it is early. We've cracked it.
I gotta check. I hope it's not this weekend.
We've cracked the case. All right. So what we're gonna do
tonight? Do we really know when the Oscars is? Can we get?
Yeah, it's this Sunday, but I'm looking for the Daytona 500.
The Daytona, totally unrelated. The Daytona 500 is.
Well, speaking of the racing, we got Ford versus Ferrari with like 2 nominations.
It's actually Ford v Ferrari.
Oh, whatever.
It's the 16th, just in case anybody cares.
Which sounds like more when the Oscars typically have been. Okay, Ford versus Ferrari racing movie has. Is it only 2? Is it only up for 2 things?
I think so.
Okay, well, it's up for a couple different things. Let's go for a couple categories. We'll talk about them.
Christian Bale's really pissed off because he does like 1 movie a year, and that was his movie this
year. Yeah, it was a good movie, and he was good in it. Also, audience, if you want to participate, if you want to do a ballot, send us a picture of the fact that you did the ballot to our. You can direct messages on Twitter at @_ticket stub. If you don't direct,
you won't win the dude though. You're not.
Well, yeah, 0% chance you get the dude. We'll give you a shout out on air if you participate, whether you beat us or not. But if you just like after the fact send us a ballot, we're not
win tickets to the Grand.
There we go. You'll get tickets to the Grand Theater
and Amstar anywhere.
And Amstar Cinema. Yeah. Okay. Anything else to interrupt and add? Or
well, make sure they know if they're listening outside of Conroe, they can go to the Grand if they live near a Grand.
Grand or Amstar,
or
whatever.
Go to Facebook Marketplace, sell them on there.
Make that money. Okay, so let's talk about Best Picture. There's 9 nominations ever since they expanded a few years back from 5 to up to 10. They've got 9 this year. What of these have y'all seen? Y'all said y'all each have only seen 1 of the 9 available, right?
Well, no, I saw Parasite. I forgot that was.
Oh, you did see Parasite. Yeah. Why didn't you say a word? I just did a whole thing about it.
I like to let you talk.
Oh, I don't like to let y'all talk if I've seen it. I like to jump in and take over.
Well, I didn't want to say that movie sucked.
Did you not like it?
It was okay.
Oh, you just thought it was okay? So you've seen Parasite and Joker. Chris, you've just seen Joker?
Just Joker, yeah.
Okay, any hopes to see anything else before it actually happens? You're picking blind here.
No.
Well, I've seen Ford v Ferrari, Joker, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. I'm going to try to see Marriage Story and maybe 1917 before it all is said and done. But what are these movies? I mean, without giving it away, does it seem like a couple of these, do any of them seem like they shouldn't be Best Picture nominations in your opinion?
I would probably say JoJo.
Yeah, I didn't see
and
it.
Little Women.
Little Women, definitely.
You sexist pigs.
They make it every few years. They make that movie every few years.
What was the last time they made Little Women?
Well, a few years ago.
It's been a few years. But this one's got...
Well,
the thing about this one is it's got Greta Gerwig, and she's like the darling right now.
The trouble with making a movie like that, especially when it's based off of a book, and it's been done so many times, it's hard to create something so unique for that year in the race for an Oscar unless it's just the best movie ever made.
1994.
Yeah, it's a few years.
So, but you understand what I'm saying? When you have a movie that's already you reflect on other created works, it's kind of like when you're voting for the Oscars, you're like, oh, it was good.
1949.
But it's not going to be the great one where you put number one on the vote.
Yeah,
like it's going to be.
That's true.
So that's
2018. They did one in 2018.
They made a real movie.
I think it was made for TV
in the
probably.
theaters
with Leah Thompson. Yeah, 1933. Yeah, they make this. Yeah, this. Look at that.
But that's
1918.
That's the struggle when you make movies like
didn't even
that,
have
and then you want to
movies
win
back
an
then.
Oscar because everyone's going to be thinking about the previous one made. If it was better, that's great, but it's not going to be enough to where you push to that number one vote when you're voting for the Oscars. That's why I was like, that's why I don't think it needs to be there. Because, I mean, think about like JoJo. That looks really interesting. It's very unique. But when you're comparing it to other movies, you're like, man, I don't really understand how at the Oscar label like they got up there. But then again, they have 9 people now, 9 movies. Like I don't think those 2 movies would have made top 5.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the thing Little Women has going for it is it's got the Greta Gerwig, Saoirse Ronan tag team, and they're like, the last 2 years before this, they've been tops of the Oscars with Lady Bird. And then, what was the other one? Anyways, it doesn't matter. But so they're, I think sometimes the names kind of get you as much as.
Well, I don't know how
else.
the way they vote for this stuff is so bizarre to me.
Yeah.
But again, I don't see it being like if you went to the Vegas numbers, I think it's gonna be those 2 movies are gonna be pretty low.
Okay.
I think now the reason they do the 9, I think the reason they do that is to promote film.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I was nominated for Best Picture. That means you should go see it and buy it.
Yeah, I'll buy that. And also I think it's to same thing, just to make the studios happier, to get more publicity, to get, everything else.
At least this lineup is stronger than last year's lineup.
I'll say that this lineup to me is pretty strong. No, for the ones that I've seen and then from what I've heard about the others. Like Ford vs. Ferrari, that was a good movie. I'm a little surprised it's up for Best Picture, but it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, really good. Parasite, really good. Joker. Honestly, Joker is probably the one that I've seen that I liked the least out of the 4 at least that I've seen.
When according to Rotten Tomatoes, that would be accurate. It's the lowest.
What are you, the Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, for some reason, this ballot
I know, but every movie we've mentioned, he's like, oh, and according to the Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, who do you think's gonna win? How about that for Best Picture? For all the money.
Are we all selected? We're all locked in?
Yeah, I'm locked in.
I
think 1917.
I agree.
Same.
Okay, so we're all in the same one there.
Yeah.
And I think that's not a real creative pick either. I think that's kind of a consensus pick for a lot of people. Is 1917. And that's one of the reasons I want to see it before it happens. I want to see what it's all about. I've heard a lot about it. The single shot, the whole, no cuts, even though there are cuts, for the whole, point of view type thing. And it's supposed to be pretty intense also, at least at some different times. So, anyways, and that goes down to directing. I think that Sam Mendes has a really good shot at Best Director as well.
Me too.
Just because I think that's part
Actually,
of
I did Bong Joon-ho as
Yeah.
Best Director.
Well, maybe so. I mean, that was a really well made movie for
That's
sure.
what I did.
Parasite was. Anyways, is there any? Let's talk about some of these categories that we don't know anything about.
Well, the animated feature one, that's going to be an interesting one because of how diverse the production companies are on that list.
Yeah.
Because I think Disney has 1 or it has 2, and then
it was Missing Link Disney.
No, that was DreamWorks.
Well, because Train Your Dragon was DreamWorks,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so.
Well, I mean, like
Claws
it's
is
not
Netflix.
it's not all Disney. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I
and
gotcha.
then they're all like some of them are original. So would you have 2 on there that are sequels, and then 3 of them are completely original stuff?
Well, Claus is a sequel to Santa in general.
The Santa Claus
just
with
the
Tim
idea
Allen?
of Santa Claus. Yeah. I'm telling you, Claus not that good. If y'all picked that, I apologize.
Well, I picked that.
I picked it.
Oh, well, maybe it'll probably win, but I thought it was stupid. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I look at the other movies.
Well, Toy Story 4. I don't know. I went Toy Story 4 just for the pedigree. I didn't see Toy Story 4.
Well, I Lost My Body on Rotten Tomatoes. It's the highest rated of all those. Oh, no, it isn't. Toy Story 4 is. My mistake.
You fool.
My mistake.
They can't give Toy Story anything worse than like 97. That's like that's the basement. So that means this movie actually sucks if it's only 97%. It's Toy Story.
What's interesting to me though, like there's certain the lower known categories like makeup, production design and stuff. They always throw in like random movies that take slots of movies that are up for Best Picture. And to me, it's kind of weird. Like when you're Best Picture, to me, that means you have a really good hand.
Yeah.
And like the poker game, like you can do a lot of good things. You have the variety. Like for example, makeup and hairstyling has Maleficent with Mistress of Evil. That's the sequel, by the way, not the original. And
I just think this is how they this is how they throw a bone to
Well,
some of these
like,
other type
why
of movies.
wouldn't Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I imagine that had a great hair and makeup.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it got costume design, which is probably,
But I mean, like,
it's probably better in that
if you're
regard.
getting costume design, there's a good chance you had good hair and makeup too.
Yeah, although it's not a huge amount of overlap between the two categories. I mean, it's Joker and Jude. No, that's it.
Yeah,
Joker's the only one
And
that
Judy.
goes across both. No, Judy's only in hair and makeup. It's not in costume design.
Okay, sorry.
I'm saying Joker's the only one that goes both ways. So kind of like Chris. No, just kidding.
Wait, no, does that make sense?
Fake
It's
news.
strange. It's strange to me they throw in movies like that,
Chris,
and
I
then it's kind of like that's just. I really don't get how they put together the list when people are voting and they go, okay, like the visual effects one's always fun because it's usually the big blockbuster movies that get
Yeah.
put into that one,
Yeah.
and then you don't really know who's you don't know who's gonna win because you don't really know how much everyone votes for that, so who cares?
Well, and I think that one of the things that they've proven over time is that the people who vote for these have not necessarily seen the movies themselves. Like,
That's always a talk every year where they're.
which to me is kind of ridiculous. Like, you should be forced if you're going to vote for something.
Well, I think,
definitely.
isn't that how it works? Is when you join the academy, you have like a subcategory for your membership, and that's what you do. So if
Yeah.
I'm a makeup artist, I get to vote. Everyone who's a makeup artist votes just on makeup artists, right?
Something
It's
like
not
that.
like I'm a producer and I get to vote on every single
don't-
one
I think
because
they
everyone
vote
votes on
for everything.
Best Picture. Everyone votes on Best Picture, but like the directors only vote on. Is that how it works?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I don't know if that's how it works or not. Honestly, I have no idea. Well, the categories that to me, I always when we do this every year, I have no idea how to pick things like sound mixing. Like, and explain to me what the difference between sound editing and sound mixing is. I don't fully know what that even means.
Sound editing, you put the sounds that you've already recorded together, and sound mixing is like making the sound.
Yeah, so like if we're doing a war scene, we expect the sounds of war to be louder than me talking to you.
So if your talking is louder than the sounds
Yeah,
of war,
so
that's
you're
bad
like,
sound
"Ugh."
mixing.
So, well, that's the mixing. That's what it is.
I know, but like, how is like? It just seems like I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a big deal. I guess how you mix it.
I mean, have you seen Star Wars?
Yeah.
Like, imagine their mixing department. They're like, oh, golly, gotta figure out which louder. Is this X-Wing louder than this laser?
It just seems like a very nitpicky thing to have an entire
Where's-
Oscar category for.
Well, I think really there's two sides to doing the movie: is the acting side, and then it's actually producing making the movie.
Yeah.
Because special effects is a huge deal, especially making a big blockbuster, making everything work. Because if anyone had any idea, I love those example movies where how much blue screen was used and how much CGI post stuff was used to do the makeup and do. Because I remember one time I got really pissed off at the Oscars when Master and Commander won Best Cinematography, and I think like 3/4 of that movie was made on a green screen.
Really?
So when they did all the naval ship battles and stuff, it was all CGI. And I'm like, I guess you have to have a cinematographer there to tell them this is how the camera is going to be moving. But when you have that much flexibility in editing the movie where you can add certain lights and stuff like that, you're controlling that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like people who do, film photography and digital photography post. Because a lot of people, there's more of an art to film photography because you got to get it right. But if you do digital, you can go into Photoshop and change everything. But that's one thing I was like, oh, it's kind of like to me that's difficult to tell people, oh, that's a great cinematography movie when 3/4 of that movie is just someone's creating on a computer, not like getting on a camera on a jib.
Which
and
is a
going
skill
down.
of its own to do it on the computer too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an impressive skill. And then there's always the shorts, like documentary short subject. How many of those
Well,
have you seen,
do you
guys?
think that's something that the industry put in because it's more of a business card resume thing?
Oh, 100%.
Because no one, the average person doesn't care, but if I want a short story, I might get a job later. That's why I'm going to spend my time in making a really good short story.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you look at, especially directors and stuff, their first 10 things are all these shorts. It's all shorts that they try to get acclaim for to help convince people to give them money for
do you
a
remember
full
when
feature.
they did those, New York, I Love You, Paris, I Love You, and then they made, Berlin, I Love You? You ever seen those movies where it's, famous directors got together, 12 directors, and they did a short that was about Berlin, but it was love stories in Berlin, and they had big actors and actresses in it. But I was like, I wonder if those shorts could be eligible for the shorts, because it's a whole movie. When you go to the theater, you're watching all of them, but it's they're standalone; they don't connect.
I don't know what the rules are, but
They
I've
never were nominated, so I guess
I've almost never seen any of them. Sometimes the animated short film, if it's at the front of a Pixar movie, I've seen that, and that's about the only opportunity I have.
Well, I know Alamo Drafthouse does the annual, you get to watch all the shorts.
All the shorts.
And I've done that a couple times, which is fun. I think living in a city like Austin, that's where you take advantage of that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's no other way to watch it unless you can watch them online.
Yeah. Well, the Oscars are coming up this Sunday. Oscar ballot contest. We each have our ballots. We're going to lock them in the Lone Star Vault, safest place in Conroe. Have them stored there so no one
tell them.
Well, they don't know
You
where the
don't
vault
tell
is.
people
They don't know
where-
where the vault is. It's secret. You have to move.
You
a
can't
picture.
get to it,
Yeah,
even if they could.
Exactly.
If they did.
Yeah, you have to believe.
Yeah,
it's
it's in the
fueled by
cloud.
belief.
It's in the cloud.
And next show we'll come back together. We'll tabulate the votes and see who wins.
So we'll
the
be back
golden
here next
dude.
Thursday.
Yeah, next
That's
Thursday.
exciting. Any movies y'all are going to try to see between now and then? I'm going to try to see that 1917 movie.
Same, 1917 and Marriage Story. Those are the two I want to see before.
I'm afraid to watch that because that's something that totally Holly would be like, oh, let's watch it together. I'm like, it's about a divorce.
And then you get in a huge fight.
Yeah, like, I'm not watching that again.
She's like, I can't believe him. He's so rude. And you're like, well, actually, he makes some valid points.
I mean, we have to look at this like logically, Holly.
Yeah, actually,
he's a jerk.
Yeah, he's a jerk. Well, I think he had a couple good points in there. You loser. Anyways, well, we love all you guys. Thanks for listening. And if you want to do the Oscar ballot contest, like I said, just direct message us on Twitter at @_tickets stub with a picture of your ballot, and you can win some tickets to the Grand Theater. Other than that, my name is Connor, for Chris, for Dick, signing off on the Ticket Stub.